I am Dr. Charles Garcia. I spent more than 40 years seeing patients, listening to stories, and watching bodies change over time. And there is something I need to confess to you, something that took me years to fully understand. Many of the problems that appear after the age of 60 do not arise suddenly. They begin much earlier, quietly, in small details that almost no one takes seriously. And honestly, this bothered me for a long time, because I saw people suffering, losing energy, losing their independence, and in many cases, all of it could have been avoided with simple care. Let me explain. There is a mistake that I see almost every single day in my office. People believe that hygiene is only about appearance, that it is just about being clean on the outside. But it is not. It never was. Hygiene, especially in older age, is health. It is prevention. It is quality of life. And when it is ignored, the body keeps score. At first, it charges in silence. I remember a patient who came to me saying he was always tired. It was not a normal kind of tiredness. It was constant. He said he woke up already without energy. And here's what I did not understand at the time. All his tests were practically normal. Nothing pointed to a clear problem. But he was not well. And it was not just him. I started noticing a pattern. People with similar symptoms. Unexplained fatigue, itching, recurring infections, persistent bad odor, even difficulty concentrating. And do you know what surprised me the most? In many of these cases, the problem was not something complex. It was something basic. It was in areas of the body that had simply been neglected for years. Over time, I began to observe more, to ask more questions, to investigate beyond the obvious. And that is when I realized something that completely changed the way I guided my patients. There are regions of the body that accumulate bacteria, toxins, and moisture, and almost no one cleans them properly. And these bacteria do not just sit there. They produce inflammatory substances. They interfere with how the body functions. They drain energy. And all of this happens slowly, quietly, until the body starts sending signals. Let me explain this more clearly. The human body is an integrated system. Everything is connected. When there is constant inflammation, even if it is small, the body enters a state of alert that consumes energy. It affects the immune system. It worsens existing conditions. And over the years, it accelerates aging. I have seen this happen countless times. Patients who improved not because of new medications, but because of simple changes in their daily care. And that is how I identified 5 critical areas, 5 zones of the body that, when neglected, can directly impact health. And honestly, almost no one talks about this. The first is the navel. Yes, the navel. It may seem small. It may seem irrelevant, but it is not. The navel is a cavity. It accumulates moisture, soap residue, and dead skin cells. And that creates a perfect environment for bacteria. I have seen cases where simply cleaning the navel properly completely changed a patient's condition. Less fatigue, less pain, better energy. And here is what I did not understand at the time. How could something so simple have such a big impact? But it makes sense. When you reduce sources of inflammation, the body responds. It always responds. Cleaning the navel carefully, drying it well, that alone already makes a difference. The second area, behind the ears. This is one of the most forgotten places, because people simply do not see it. And what is not seen is ignored. Oil, sweat, and dirt accumulate there. And this region is close to important structures. When there is inflammation there, it can affect overall well-being. I have had patients who reported frequent headaches, and after adjusting this simple habit, they improved. It sounds strange, I know, but the body works like this. Everything is connected. And there is another point that very few people talk about. When someone begins to neglect small acts of self-care, it affects the mind. It affects self-esteem. It affects motivation. I have heard patients say, "Doctor, I just don't feel like taking care of myself anymore." And that is serious, very serious. The third area is the armpits. And here, many people think, I clean that, but not in the right way. The armpits are not just regions of sweat. They contain important lymph nodes. When bacteria accumulate there, the lymphatic system can become overloaded, and that directly affects the body's defenses. I have followed patients who lived with recurring infections, and one of the changes we made was improving hygiene in that area. And do you know what impacted me the most? The emotional effect. Bad odor makes people withdraw, avoid contact, avoid social interactions, and that creates isolation. And isolation accelerates decline, not only physically, but mentally as well. Proper hygiene, with attention and care, changes this entire scenario. The fourth area is the groin. And here I need to be direct. This is a very sensitive region. With aging, the skin changes. Folds become more pronounced. Moisture accumulates. And this creates the perfect environment for fungi and infections. I have seen patients change the way they walk because of discomfort in this area without even realizing it. And that creates a chain reaction: knee pain, hip pain, back problems. and the risk of falling increases. And here is what many people do not realize. When an older adult reduces movement because of pain or discomfort, they lose muscle mass, they lose strength, they lose independence. Everything begins with something small. Keeping this area clean and dry is essential. It is not optional. And the fifth area, the feet. Honestly, this may be the most important one, because the feet are the foundation of everything. They support the body, they allow mobility, and even so, they are often ignored. I have seen serious cases begin with something simple: a poorly trimmed nail, a small crack in the skin, a fungal infection, and then it progresses, especially when circulation is not good. And when that happens, the risks increase significantly. Wounds that do not heal, infections, and even loss of mobility. And do you know what surprised me the most? When patients start taking care of their feet again, they begin to walk with more confidence. They feel safer, and that changes everything. Because it is not just about walking, it is about freedom. Over the years, I came to understand something very clearly. Healthy aging does not depend on big actions. It does not depend on something extraordinary. It depends on consistency, on attention to detail. The body does not demand perfection. It demands care. Every single day, a little at a time. I have seen patients completely transform their quality of life with simple adjustments. And I have also seen the opposite. People who ignored these signs and paid the price later. And I am not saying this to scare you. I am saying this because it is real, because it happens every single day. Look, if you have come this far, I want to ask you for something simple. Start observing your body more carefully. At your next shower, do not do everything on autopilot. Pause, pay attention, take care of every detail. Do this calmly, with respect for yourself. And honestly, it may seem small now, but over time, it changes everything. Now let me tell you something important. If this made sense to you, write here in the comments. I choose to take care of myself. It may seem like just a sentence, but it is not. When you declare a decision, you give it strength. You commit to it. And if you know someone in your family who needs to hear this, share this message. Because many people are suffering without knowing why. And this information can help. Also leave your like. That helps this message reach more people. People who may be going through exactly this right now. And if you want to keep learning, if you want to better understand how to take care of your body based on real experience, subscribe to the channel. Because here I share what I have learned over decades of practice. No complications, no exaggeration, only what truly matters. Remember one thing, it is never too late to start. Never. Your body still responds. It still adapts. It still improves. But it needs your attention. Taking care of your body is not vanity. It is respect. It is responsibility. It is an act of self-love. And these 5 areas I showed you, they are not details. They are pillars. When you take care of them, you reduce inflammation, improve your energy, protect your mobility, and strengthen your mind. Aging well is not luck. It is a choice. It is a daily attitude. And it begins with something simple. Today, in your next shower,